With the recently announced and sure to be contentious and controversial election in the UK this year, I have provided a quick guide to the parties and personalities involved, mainly by relentlessly ripping the piss out of all of them. Not all are recent events, but I don't care as it's more fun that way. I imagine a lot of you won't like all of the jokes I'm going to make, especially the ones about your favourite party or political figure, so in the bottom left of the screen I will have each party symbol displayed when I'm going to make a joke about them. That way you can put your fingers in your ears and go la 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 la. Because of the seriousness of the time we live in, I thought we'd start off with a bit of levity, by discussing one of Britain's illustrious and long history tradition of joke candidates. Rishi Sunak is standing for the Conservative Party and is quite frankly having a disastrous tenure.
But Wolf, he's been handed a bad hand.
Yes, by his own party, somehow managing to cock up on an unprecedented scale like me when I took my first Viagra. After 14 years in power and 5 prime ministers, it's no wonder that discontent among the Tory base have been rising as of late. The Tory base, for those who are wondering, is the bottom of the sponge cake served at Downton Abbey. Boris naturally looms over the proceedings like a dark shadow, the same way that he looms over his numerous mistresses, but hopefully with less grunting. Labour, as it's aptly named, is what it feels like I'm going through when I hear them talk, and they've long been the Shadow Cabinet, which sounds like a great anime villain. Keir Starmer is a lot harder to make fun of than Rishi Sunak on account of being extremely fucking boring, and he has faced much difficulty, particularly in the north of England, based on his work as a chief prosecutor. This has been an issue when knocking door to door or talking to them, as northerners are bred to never speak to a prosecutor without a solicitor present. Labour's policies are exactly what you expect them to be, with very little spicy variations, which to the Tories' credit you can always count on for something desperate, like a cougar giving you the eye from across the bar. Sunak has announced plans to institute national service for 18-year-olds should he be elected. This is a laughable premise, as anyone who's been to a cafe or Costa will know, 18-year-olds give terrible service. Also, they'd only refer to missiles by Venti or Grande. National service is a bit of a stretch, considering when pressed about what the government would do if service was refused, they responded with fining the parents. When pressed further, saying that 18-year-olds are legally adults in the UK and the parents would have nothing to do with the decision, the Tories responded with, Huh? Liberal Democrats follow tradition by being completely irrelevant at all times, still feeling the sting of when Nick Clegg betrayed the young vote pool by forming an alliance with the Tories as a coalition government, and then proceeding to do absolutely fuck all. This was kind of like if Captain America decided that by joining Thanos, he could moderate some of his policies, and then just proceeds to gargle his big hairy purple nuts for years. David Cameron, former Prime Minister, came back into politics by taking the position of Foreign Secretary. I wonder whether he would take the initiative and thrust himself back into the head of the party, much like that pig I suppose. The main issue facing Sunak is the idea of relatability, struggling to identify with the rest of the nation on account of being absolutely filthy rich. By being about as down-to-earth as Pluto, and being so rich that he could literally choose to not look the way he does. Although I can only assume that choosing to retain his ears the way they are is so that Boris can communicate with him like cup and string. Okay, I will insult everyone's looks, just to be fair. Keir Starmer, along with having the same name as a mustache 70s porn actor, bases much of his style and the shape of his head on the 6x2 Lego brick. I had to Google what the Lib Dem leader looked like, and it turns out he looks like the doctor that's just a little bit too keen to conduct that prostate test. Britain First, which is every delusional British person's Olympic result prediction, is led by Paul Golding. His real name is Paul Balding, but he didn't want to upset the majority of his supporters. Paul, seen here telling how many people will vote for him. Oh, I've got another one. Paul, seen here testing out a new salute as the old one was taken. Okay, that's it. Enough joking. No, I've got one more. Paul, seen here telling his carer what he's done in his trousers, has this classic picture where the person next to him stares with the same shocked expression of when a Britain First member witnesses a minority for the first time. I mentioned the Shadow Cabinet sounding like an anime villain, but Jacob Rees-Mogg is one in real life. Easily one of the most punchable faces of all time, this has nothing to do with politics. If you're wondering, the top 5 is like so. Number 1, Jacob Rees-Mogg. Number 2, Poe from the Teletubbies, because they deserve it. Number 3, Dong Zhuo from Dynasty Warriors 2. Number 4, Jeffrey Epstein. And number 5, Jojo Siwa. Jacob, who looks remarkably like a puppet of Hitler gained sentience if its moustache fell off, is in a tough battle for his constituency. Honestly, it was a surprise to see him run again, after a record number of MPs have elected to not stand again, the most since World War II. Look, an actual fact in an election guide. Who could have guessed? This has largely been down to both concerns of the Conservatives for a swing in Parliament and the seek to save face by not standing. I'm not standing is also what I say to the elderly and the pregnant when I'm on public transport. Next we have Jacob Rees-Mogg. I'm sorry, but he's such an easy target. Much like the peasants he hunts for sport. Switching gears, Angela Rayner, the deputy to Keir Starmer of the Labour Party, was accused of being distracting temptress by seducing those who came to speak at the podium. This is ridiculous, as Keir is right there, and he's the real source of our distractions.
You kiss my lips and then you take my breath away.
The whole scenario was absurd and only boosted her prominence. It's laughable, as everyone knows that gingers cannot seduce people who are pure of heart. There are said to be mixed feelings among the Conservatives, as with the inevitable reshuffling of the benches if a historic defeat occurs, it offers a tantalising opportunity for the backbenchers to rise in prominence and compete for the illustrious shadow cabinet, something they are familiar with as they've been in the closet for so long. In breaking news as of writing, Diane Abbott, the first black woman elected to Parliament, has been given the whip, something I thought we'd really moved on past as a people. Oh, the whip, for those who are interested, is the person who goes around and collects votes, much like the least interesting type of cowboy.
Whoa there, where do you think you're going, missy? Voting for your constituents' specific needs? Not if I can help it.
She has been suspended from the party since comments made about Jewish people not facing racism, but seeing something more akin to the prejudice faced by redheads. This is obviously a ridiculous scenario, as gingers are the only ones truly deserving of our scorn. Gingers have been quick to decry the words of Diane Abbott, as they too have faced real suffering, such as not wearing sunscreen in 10-degree heat. Can I squeeze in one more ginger joke? Oh, I'm sure I can. Diane Abbott has faced much anger from the ginger community, so she has fled to the holy grounds of a church, the one place that gingers can't enter. If you think my ginger jokes stem from me projecting my insecurities, as Bengal tigers are considered a far better predator than the wolf, then you'd be absolutely correct.